MP for Ifutu, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, his majority leader. He's joined us on the line. You're welcome to Eyewitness News, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your show, and good evening to your cherished listeners and followers out there.
Good evening to you. So can you tell us why you're asking the Speaker to recall the House?
Very well, thank you. So yesterday, in the first place, we were not on notice. When I say we were not on notice, basically, Mr. Speaker did not discuss with us. We heard the pronouncement that he was going to adjourn the House. We tried to engage him. We were not too successful. And eventually, the adjournment Synod was pronounced. In fact, the minority leader and myself, my good self, together with others, were trying to resolve this issue regarding the nominees to the Supreme Court on the vetting process, because they had some disagreement. So in the chamber, I noticed that the temperature was boiling. I was seeing rising temperature of a sort through an indication from the minority chief whip. So I engaged my colleague, and we had to move out of the chamber. So we're actually on the fifth floor discussing a solution to the whole problem when we saw, on the TV what was happening. So we had to stop and rush down. And Mr. Speaker will not even recognize me as the leader of the House. And as part of protocols, we even give our closing remarks. And that was not allowed, and he did not give his closing remarks in that. For me, I think that was very unfortunate, and the whole caucus was disappointed. But be that as it may, this is democracy. The fact that you disagree with a speaker's decision does not mean that you should disrespect the chair. The chair is all we have as a symbol of authority of parliament. Therefore, we as law-abiding Democrats decided to invoke Article 1123 of the Constitution, which allows us to recall Parliament to an extraordinary plenary session, which we have done. We transmitted the letter to Mr. Speaker. An official in his office duly received it and stamped it. The name is Naomi, who is an official of his secretariat. We've been told that same would be transmitted to him via electronic means. So we know that when Mr. Speaker receives it, he would take the necessary steps as enjoined as provided for in the Constitution.
It's strange that you say yesterday you did not know about it. Usually you, a small group of yours, decide what the business of the day is. And I don't know whether the Speaker is in that meeting or is not supposed to be in that meeting. Are you suggesting that at no point did you have foreknowledge that the House was going to adjourn yesterday as a leader of the House? I
would simply say, without giving details, that Mr. Speaker's decision to adjourn the House committee yesterday was unilateral.
It was a rule, or was the procedure for adjournment? Do you have to propose it for Speaker to agree? Is it a discretion of the Speaker? What's the procedure?
All right. Parliament does two things: runs public business and private business. Private business include a statement from a member or a private member's bill or anything initiated by a member of Parliament. But largely, all other businesses are initiated by government. So as part of the democratic checks and balances, key government decisions are required to come to the plenary. Then as part of the scrutiny, the checks and balances and all. So under normal circumstances, the leader of government business or the government caucus will determine, by and large, how Parliament business should be prosecuted. because you are bringing government business. So at any point when you indicate that government has these lineup of businesses, for instance, today, Cabinet took a decision on the free SHS bill, finally, after going through the consultation process, going to the Attorney General, after the minister had listened to all other, stakeholders in the education sector. It came up for discussion, and Cabinet approved it. The next thing is for it to come to the plenary. The stabilization bill. We have the EPA bill. We have some IDA facilities of government. Government had also brought some tax amendment bill before the House. So for me, the fact that we had government business pending, there was no such justification for the adjournment of the House immediately. And this session of Parliament, perhaps, arguably, may go down in history as the shortest period of sitting of Parliament. Because, you see, under normal circumstances, we're supposed to come just after the Easter. You remember that around that time, Mr. Speaker also adjourned Senate upon the receipt of a communication from Secretary to President, and that led to another, merry-go-round, sort of thing. Eventually, we had to file a petition to recall Parliament. We came and transacted business for one day, and then we adjourned again. And then when we were supposed to come, again, it was not in consultation with us. It was Mr. Speaker's unilateral decision, which decision was communicated to MPs that 11th of June. Again, if we had come a bit earlier, we could have had enough time to do government business. Be that as it may, we said it's okay. And we have something to do. And now he says that, look, I'm adjourning. I can also understand aspects of his position. That, okay, he's been alone sitting, and we know that, sitting alone for that long period is not good for, whatever, So, the first deputy speaker is not in the jurisdiction. Second deputy speaker is not in the jurisdiction. But our rules allow for a member presiding. That if all three speakers are not in town, there should be a member presiding. The Constitution envisaged it. That is why it made provision for that. So there cannot be a vacuum at the chair. All right? There can never be a situation whereby there is nobody in the chair. So I disagree that because the Speaker's flight was for 10 p.m. last night, we had to adjourn for his official travel to be taken. Well, it's okay. We have triggered our rights under the law. So we look forward to a decision on it by him. And if all is well, we should be coming back within the next 2 weeks.
The way you are sounding suggests that you don't often get consensus around the leadership of the House, which leadership would also include the speakership. What has been the relationship between the leadership and the speakership since you assumed this role? Has it been a difficult one? Because from what you are saying now, it sounds like decisions are taken without consulting each other, which I believe is what the situation ordinarily should be.
Right, respectfully, I think that I limited myself to this very matter, and I would want to stay there.
That's fair enough.
The question was to the effect that, whether or not we're in the know or why that. And I said specifically that on this decision of adjourning the housing ETA, I was not in the know.
That's fair enough. I spoke to your colleague for Boko Central just before you came on air, and I asked him what he made of your petition to recall the house. And he said, throughout the period you have been sitting, it's almost always been an absent chamber from your side, and that your caucus members do not show up. He even says you yourself seldom shows up in the house to conduct government business. And so it's almost like they've been wasting time. And so for him, going on the adjournment, Honorable Mahama Yarga says, going on adjournment was the best way out, because it appears your side was not ready to conduct business and you were to bring the business for them to conduct. What do you say to that?
You see, I respect Honorable Mahama Yarga. He's a senior member and a lawyer for that matter. If he decides to be doing politics and trivializing things, it makes it difficult to debate him. We have the work of the majority leader includes administrative responsibility. The majority leader, since the history of Parliament, does not sit in the chamber 24/7. You are a member of cabinet, you are a member of other bodies, you have administrative work. Everything that Parliament does, it passes through me to Speaker. You have to discharge your work. You have come to the office early to do what you are supposed to do. You attend meetings outside of Parliament for and on behalf of the Parliament. At any point, there must be somebody in charge of government business. So he should not, and I repeat, he should not attempt that type of trivialization by saying that the majority leader was not. How often do I stay away from chamber work? We come in and go out, and there's always somebody in charge of government business. We have arranged our business in such a way that the chief whip is assigned to take charge of proceedings, and the leader of the house comes in as and when. How many times does he find his minority leader sitting in the chamber? They also have their own strategy of, leading the house. So I don't want him to try that thing. In any event, at all material times, there was somebody prosecuting government business. That is it. And he also knows that Parliament does not only work at the plenary. We work at committee level as well. But he himself that was making that allegation. Please go and check the records in Parliament. How often does he attend Parliament? He is not a member of the ECOWAS Parliament any longer. He does not represent government business on any committee or whatever. He's not a minister of state. But does he make time for Parliament? Because he has some other things that is known to him. So it is what it is. He shouldn't be trying to reduce the argument to say that Mr. Speaker was justified, because it means that for them, everything by Mr. Speaker is justified and they support it. They've been in government before. If that is how the Speaker treated them in government, would they have been very happy then? So let's be fair to democracy.
Very well.
And let's be fair to the issue.
Since you mentioned ECOWAS Parliament, I do know that there's some meeting happening in your constituency. Members of the ECOWAS Parliament are here. What is the status? What's happening? What's the update, sir?
Well, there's a joint delocalized meeting of ECOWAS parliamentarians in Ghana, and they are all in Winneba, deliberating on issues of plastic waste and all. Yesterday was the official opening ceremony, and they will be there till Friday.
Very well. We'll be bringing the news as and when we get it from what happens there. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, Mario.
That's Honorable Alexander Afenyo-Markin.